Bring the lights down low, it's time to show. Lights, camera, you know what we mean. Behold the magic of the silver screen. Some movies rock, some movies shock. They're powerful, alright. We cover them all on your favorite part. So many movies we can choose. Even when you win, you lose. Life moves pretty fast. Some will fizzle and some movies last. I understood there would be no math. It's the 30-something movie podcast. Be excellent to each other. Peace out and word to your mother. They're from the best decades. Movie magic that never fades. Lightsabers clash, phasers set to stun. Action packed from dusk till dawn. We have deep thoughts and questions free. Come share our love of the movies we see. Life moves pretty fast. Some will fizzle and some movies last. I understood there would be no math. It's the 30-something movie podcast.
It's the 30-something movie podcast, and the polar ice caps have melted. We are all, well, it's a little bit more than knee-deep, but we're all knee-deep in water here as we have transported ourselves to Waterworld. So hopefully everybody here knows how to swim.
Yes.
Okay, good. I mean, I'm not that great of a swimmer, but hopefully everybody else knows how to swim.
Yeah.
You know, I had a bit, I'm just going to jump right into this one, had a little bit of a criticism of there being a character in this movie that did not know how to swim. I was like, how does this child not know how to swim? And then part of me was like, well, but what we learned later is that, you know, she is from another place where swimming might not have been as necessary. But then I'm like, well, but didn't they just say that she, you know, washed up in a basket several years ago? So she's lived in this society where swimming would be necessary for quite a long time. And the fact that you don't know how to swim, that's just weird, man.
Just weird.
I don't know.
I wish you would adopt a growth mindset and say, you don't know how to swim yet.
Correct.
That would be.
Yes. So our movie,
the opening animation with the polar ice caps melting thing, that was pretty cool.
That was kind of fun. Yeah.
That was really cool.
So our movie we're talking about this time around is Waterworld. How do we want to say this? The sometimes much maligned Kevin Costner movie Waterworld, who, even if you've never seen it, I feel like even if you've never seen this movie, the thing you know about this movie isn't that the one where he pees into a cup, filters it, and then drinks it? Yes.
Yeah, but I don't know. Well, we'll get into it, but I think people kind of hated on this movie because it was fun to hate on the movie. I mean, sure, it's bonkers, but like, I don't know. But some of the crap we've had to watch for this podcast, this thing's pretty fun.
What are you saying? What are you saying, Pat?
What?
What are you saying, Pat? Are you saying Damselvis, Daughter of Helvis is not quality?
I mean, I'm sorry, John. What I'm saying is everything we watch is amazing.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, like, I mean, we've seen some movies that are like bad.
Oh, cool.
This is just
cool.
fun, like, I don't
cool.
know.
Anything that starts with cool is a piece of crap. Cool Runnings. I take that back. Not Cool Runnings, but Cool Runnings is the one.
Don't forget Howard.
Well, that's one person's. That's just like Dennis's opinion, man.
I don't know. I thought this movie was fun.
Yeah.
I think people kind of hated on it to hate on it back in the day.
Well, it had a troubled production. We'll talk a little bit about that. There was a lot of stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This was it was getting picked on quite a bit before it ever got released. So, but we'll talk about that. We spoil freely here, so just be warned. If we start to mention a movie you don't want to hear anything about it, just maybe hit the skip button a couple times and we'll move on past that. Make sure you visit our website, 30podcast30 and the word podcast.com, where you can leave us a rating, leave us a voicemail. You could become a co-executive producer via Patreon over there. It's a great place to get our bonus episodes, all that other fun stuff. some of the bonus ones are free. Some are under the paid area. So if you want to do that, that really helps out the show. We're not doing this to replace our day jobs. We do it because we love it. And if you're loving it too, and if you want to just give back in some way, just to kind of show your support for the show, we really, really appreciate that and have always appreciated those that do that regularly. So thank you all so much to our Patreon co-executive producers that are out there.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
All right, we're going to dive right, pun intended when I say dive right on into this one.
Yeah, see what you did there?
There might be a lot of water puns in this one. So, yeah.
We've been warned, is what you're saying.
You have been warned. Yes. So, I mean, if you've hopefully when this episode is over, you will feel a sense of relief and not tension. Hopefully you've been able to relieve yourself after we've finished talking about this movie. Yeah. Yeah. You know, the one thing I thought was really interesting, that opening scene in the movie, the one that people get kind of like weirded out by, I thought there was an interesting, in the, we watched, the version we saw was called the Ulysses cut. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. The one interesting thing I thought was their choice of music for that opening scene, that they really, they decided to go with the Three Dog Night.
One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do. Two can be as bad as one. It's the loneliest number since the number one.
Interesting, as they were going through that whole filtering scene. I thought that was an interesting musical choice that they made.
It was an interesting choice.
Yeah.
It was an interesting choice. I don't get why everyone's so weirded out by that. I mean, maybe back in the day, but like I said before we started recording, wasn't that the whole still suit thing in Dune?
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know.
Referencing Dune. Nerd.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I am.
No, I
I
know.
resemble that remark, but
Yes.
I mean,
As do we all.
I don't know. I don't know.
This
Everyone
was
just seems so uptight when it comes to this movie. Like all of a sudden we're getting judgy about this. And I don't know. I feel like in Guardians of the Galaxy when he was talking about not what was it, Flashdance, or what was the movie that he loved, that Peter Quill loved in that one?
Yeah.
And it says because
Footloose.
he danced to get the with the town full of people with sticks up their butt.
Yeah.
And then the one gal was just like, who put the sticks up their butt?
Why
That's kind of what I feel like with watching this. Like, what I mean, come on, everybody. Like, just
why would they put the sticks up their butt?
yeah. It was, yeah. That's kind of what I feel like. Like, what? I don't know.
And this
I don't know.
and this great Earth hero, Kevin Bacon,
Yeah.
taught the town to love each other. Why would they put the sticks up their butt? No, that's not the point. Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly it. The guy's got to drink water. You can't drink salt water. So,
Sure. Yeah. So, all right, let's dive on into
Your question, though, Pat.
go for it.
I think the difference is with the still suits, you don't see it.
That's also true.
yeah.
A little out of sight, out of mind.
Mhm.
People don't want to
All right.
know. People don't want to know how the sausage is made or how the filtered water gets filtered.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably part of it. Well, and for
Okay.
that, I mean, for that to have been the opening scene of the movie, like that hits you right away. Like maybe it would have been less of an impact on people if that's not the first scene. If you learn maybe a little bit of the mechanics of this world and how things work, as opposed to you've taken your kids to see this Kevin Costner adventure movie. Wait, what are we watching? Like that, I am gonna maybe call out whoever did the editing on that. Was like, maybe that's not the best choice of first scene there. I don't want to pick on it completely, but I can see how maybe you go to see this in the movie theater and that's the first thing you're seeing. You're like, oh, okay. That's a choice, certainly.
But I also think that what a table set to your movie, right?
Also true. Yeah.
What an intro, like, this is how bad it is, people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to start the world building right away. I can also see that. Yeah. Yeah, before I do want to start jumping into the trivia piece of this, but I did actually pull a clip. This was one of my favorite stand-up comedy things I used to watch. I don't remember how I got a copy of it off of HBO because we didn't have HBO, but somehow I was able to watch this, and I watched this thing over and over and over again. And I remember that Dana Carvey had a comedy special. I think it was HBO, might have been Comedy Central, but I think it was HBO. Had a comedy special that was called Critics' Choice. And there was, he would do all of his different impersonations that he would do on Saturday Night Live. And at the end, I think during the end credits, there was a scene where he was impersonating Ross Perot, complaining about different things. And there was a segment during the end credits of his comedy special where it's Ross Perot complaining about Waterworld. And so
Yeah.
this movie was, before this movie ever came out, it was made fun of. It was like the production woes were talked about on late night TV, on the news. So before anybody ever saw one frame of this movie, it had already been kind of maligned as, look how much of a mess this thing is. Like, this is going to be a complete flop. It was the Warren Beatty movie Ishtar that was so bad, and like they nicknamed this movie Fishtar. I think was another thing. So anyway, I found the clip of the Dana Carvey comedy special where he is Ross Perot giving his review of Waterworld.
Now we got Waterworld. Can I pay $7.50 and see Kevin Costner drink his own urine? You mean it's only $7.50 to see Kevin Costner drink his own urine? Where do I sign up? Folks, he pees into a cup, pours it into a filter contraption, and drinks it. Yummy, yum. Folks, it don't work that way. You cannot pee into a Mr. Coffee and get Taster's Choice.
So anyway, this movie was being pretty much ridiculed and maligned like from moment one.
I'm going back, like, who put the sticks up their butts? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. But no one tuned in to watch me just say, I don't get it. We should get into the show.
That's fine. That's all right. Well, we're going to, you know what, let me do the trivia part, and then Pat, you can shower this with as much praise as you want.
I see what you did there.
You're welcome. All right. Trivia on this one. It came out July 28th, 1995, rated PG-13. Runtime of 2 hours and 15 minutes typically, but the version we saw, I believe, was a little bit closer to 3 hours. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. Director for some of it was Kevin Reynolds. He also did Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and Fandango. Writers were Peter Rader and David Twohy. Rader, I don't think had very many screenplay credits, but Twohy, if I'm saying that right, did Pitch Black and The Chronicles of Riddick. Producers were Kevin Costner, John Davis, Charles Gordon. John Davis did Predator, The Jackal. Charles Gordon did Die Hard 2 and Field of Dreams. Composer was James Newton Howard, who did The Hunger Games and the 2005 King Kong movie. Cinematographer was Dean Semler, who did Dances with Wolves and The Thin Red Line. Editor was Peter Boyle, did Spy Game and the 2013 Lone Ranger movie. Production company was Universal Pictures, Gordon Company, and Davis Entertainment. Budget was somewhere between 172 and 175 million, which I believe, if I looked it up correctly, is somewhere around 360 million today. Adjusted for inflation, 360 million as the budget. And then the worldwide box office was 264.2 million. Flickmetrics gives it a 61%. Cinema Score gives it a B. Kevin Costner plays the Mariner. He was in Dances with Wolves and Field of Dreams. Dennis Hopper, who passed in 2010, was Deacon. He was in Blue Velvet and Speed. Jean Triplehorn was Helen. She was in Basic Instinct and The Music of the Heart. Tina Majorino was in Nola. She was in Napoleon Dynamite and Big Love. Michael Jeter, who passed in 2003, was Old Gregor. He was in The Green Mile, Jurassic Park 3. R.D. Call was Enforcer. He was in Heat and George of the Jungle. Kim Coates was Drifter. He was in Goon and Bad Boy Bubsy. Jack Black was a pilot. He was in School of Rock and Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. Robert Joy was Ledger Guy. He was in Land of the Dead, 2005, and Aaron Brockovich. And then Zakes Mokai was Priam, who was in The Ghost in the Darkness, 1996, and Cry the Beloved Country. So at the time this was made, this was the most expensive film ever made at roughly 175 million. Titanic would take over that honor just a couple years later in 97. This kind of gave this movie as a reputation as being a flop because of the massive budget for this movie, bunch of production troubles. I mean, a lot of this was filmed on open water, even though, Kevin Costner should have followed Steven Spielberg's advice to never film on actual water, is film what you need on the water and then get a stage, get tanks and do it in that, because he had so much trouble with Jaws that
Yeah.
he said, don't do it. Whatever you do, don't do it. And there are so many stories of how filming on the open water made this ridiculously difficult and took scenes that would normally take maybe a week to shoot, or a few hours to shoot, ended up taking a month to shoot, because
Oof.
part of the problem was when they were filming this on the actual open water is you'd have to ferry, if the actors had to use the bathroom, they had to get ferried to a boat so that they could use the bathroom. And then they were ferried back out. And then the makeup people had to get ferried out to where the actors were, do their makeup, do their hair, everything else. By the time the makeup people got out of the way, the camera boats had kind of drifted from their original positions. And so then by the time the camera boats got back to where they were, the wind had blown Kevin Costner's hair. And so the makeup people needed to come back. So it sounded like there were a lot of interesting production choices that were made that caused the budget on this thing to just skyrocket. On top of that, and I think more recently, you hear a lot of this stuff. I don't know how much of it is true, but you hear a lot of stuff like for the TV show Yellowstone. Kevin Costner ended up leaving that show, and there's a lot of different stories as to why. There have been stories over the years that he can be a difficult person to work with on movies. I don't know if that's just because he's very particular about how he wants the projects he's involved in to go, or if he's not a good person to work with. I don't know, but there have been enough stories, and in this story, the director of this one, actually Kevin Reynolds, who he had worked with on Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, backed out of this movie because they were going to be making some of the cuts to this, and he's like, nope, forget it. We argued over this while we were making the movie. I'm not happy with this now. I'm out of here. And then Kevin Costner had to kind of take over as director and editor of this one when Kevin Reynolds stepped away, because when the budget on this kind of exploded and the studio thought, well, we feel like this is going to be a flop. We need to make sure that we make our money back on this. They needed to cut the movie. It was originally about 3 hours long, and they needed to cut it down to about 2 hours, 2:15, so they could show it more times in movie theaters and try to recoup some of their costs. So it sounds like that combination of stuff going on, and then the stories of all that as this is going on before the movie is even released, the stories of the drama on the set, the drama between producers and studio and all that other stuff. It sounds like that got leaked out to the press and leaked out to like late night talk shows and comedians and everybody else. And so that ended up being the story that was kind of spreading through the press even before this movie ever got released, was this thing is a mess. Like, it's a mess. It's going to be a complete flop. It's kind of a joke. It's Kevin Costner's big white whale that he's sinking a ton of money into. My understanding is he even put something like $22 million of his own money into the production of the movie. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. When you really and truly look at it, the movie, while maybe a box office disappointment, it actually did become profitable later on because of home video and international showings. So it was not a financial flop. Given its budget, it was probably not as successful as they wanted it to be. And so that's part of it too, is it did actually become successful. It is one of those 90 movies. Sometimes it's a little inexplicable as to why somebody decided that this movie needed action figures. This is one where there were actually Waterworld toys. I don't know if you guys ever had any of the Waterworld toys or not. Okay. I've never purchased any.
No, that wasn't on my Christmas list.
Not on yours? Okay. Because you could get accessories that never showed up. It's much like when you'd buy something like the Batman toys, and there's all of a sudden like, Arctic gear Batman. It's like, I don't remember in Batman Returns him ever going to the Arctic, but that's interesting.
Well, you see, in the long lost script for the sequel to Batman Returns, he met a long lost Bat cousin who lived in the Arctic.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. and he had his bat igloo that he lived in. He just had to like open up a little statue, push the button, and whoop, they just slide down the.
Well, he was hanging out next to the Fortress of Solitude, you know.
Well, that might be true. That might be true. Next door neighbors. But yeah, so there were action figures that came with like mutant crab accessory. I'm like, I don't remember that happening in the movie, but okay. You got to make something out of plastic that the kids can play with.
Mhm.
So a lot of problems going into this one. As I mentioned, we watched the Ulysses cut. The copy of the movie that I think most of us at least watched was called the Ulysses cut. And that one it's actually not, so there's kind of an interesting story behind this. It's not just about adding back deleted scenes, but there's a little bit more of a story to this. So, and Pat, I know you were kind of looking up some stuff on this too. So if I forget anything, feel free to jump in and correct me.
If I've got it right, but you
Okay.
know,
Well, as we learned last week, we could both be right and wrong, and it's all okay.
yeah, it's all okay.
We're going to be commended for whatever we do, Pat, right or wrong, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So a little bit of the origin story. This version originated from a 1997 ABC television premiere, which was shown over the course of 2 nights and included about 40 minutes of previously unseen material. So from that, some dedicated fans, led by an online forum member, McFly89, painstakingly compiled the longest possible version from various VHS and digital TV recordings, including a Spanish broadcast, to keep the original violence and swearing intact. The added footage of this kind of significantly expands out the world building. So we see more of the atoll's desperation, like a man begging to trade all his hair for water, kind of a funny town meeting where the mariner's possessions, a clarinet, a thigh master, a yo-yo, are mistaken for spy and torture gear.
The Thigh Master bit was so good.
That was funny. This is clearly a torture device.
It's awesome.
And then the ending is extended to include the famous reveal that the heroes are standing on the top of Mount Everest. And that kind of emphasizes the scale of the global flood. And then the extended scenes kind of lean into the original director's vision, making the mariner initially a little bit more of a selfish character, like a little bit more harsh and selfish and seemingly only out for himself, before eventually being redeemed at the end of it. So this cut runs about 171 minutes, I think. And while it's not necessarily, well, I thought the pacing for this is fine, but in terms of getting this world building, this post-apocalyptic world that Kevin Reynolds and his crew kind of created initially, and the fact that this came from a fan as well, was also kind of cool. And knowing that at that point they realized, look, this is the most complete version of this movie without being able to really kind of go back and do just a pure director's cut. This is about the fullest version of this movie you could ever possibly get. And so we're just going to accept this, and we're going to call it the Ulysses cut, and we're going to release this thing. So that is the story I have about the Ulysses cut. My understanding, though, from other things that I've read, is that there are certain things that were in the theatrical cut that do not show up in the Ulysses cut. So it's not like it's every single thing got added back in. Apparently, there is at least a scene or two with the Deacon character, with Dennis Hopper, that were in the theatrical cut but are not in the Ulysses cut. Supposedly, there's a scene where he lights a match and he like tosses it towards one of the oil barrels when they're on the Exxon Valdez, and he's like just trying to keep his people that are on the ship on their toes. And he's like, heads up.
Yeah.
And he like tosses a match, and like one of them catches it at the last second. He's like, hey, there you go. Like, good job. Keep it up.
I saw that scene.
Was it in there?
Yeah.
Oh, I must have missed it then. Maybe I got up and got a drink or something when that scene was happening.
Well, in 171 minutes, there are several bathroom and drink breaks necessary.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Because I had read online, somebody had commented and said that scene was not in there, and I didn't remember seeing it. So I thought, oh, okay, well, that makes sense.
Now, maybe he does it more than once to show that it's a character thing, but
That's
he definitely does it once.
That's true. It could be. Yeah. So, all right. Well, let me do the voiceover. Let me get our major moments, and then we will fly right into our thoughts on this one, because I think we have a lot of thoughts on this one, especially maybe based on how other people perceive this one when it came out. In the future, where the polar ice caps have melted and Earth is one vast ocean, one lone mariner fights scavengers, carries a secret tomato plant, and holds the key to dry land. From the floating atolls to jet ski raiders, the only hope lies beneath the waves. This summer, survival isn't just about staying afloat. It's about finding land on Waterworld.
The future. The polar ice caps have melted, and the Earth lies beneath a watery grave. Those who survived have adapted to a new world.
What did you see out there in your 15 lunars?
Such as?
An end? An end to all this water?
You're asking the wrong person.
Pure dirt.
So what's the word? We trading or not?
And the human dream is the search for a mythical place called dry land.
It doesn't exist!
How can you be sure?
Because I sailed farther than most have dreamed. I've never seen it.
This place, this whole way of living, it's ending.
Straight line leading directly to dry land.
Dry land is not just our destination, but it is our destiny!
Universal Pictures presents a world unlike any you have ever seen. Kevin Costner, Dennis Hopper, Gene Triplehorn. Waterworld.
The world in the year 2500. Okay, so my understanding is, from looking up some things related to the production of this one, they were using the year 2500 as kind of their starting point for production design and figuring out, okay, what's an amount of time that we could have this set so that the people living in this time have forgotten about certain historical things, maybe some of the evolution of Kevin Costner's character being able to have gills and web feet and things like that. Maybe 500 years is not quite enough for that to have happened, but to be able to still have things like the Exxon Valdez and a Thigh Master and intact copies of National Geographic and stuff like that. They had kind of settled on the year 2500 as what they were dealing with when they were kind of designing some of the sets and other production pieces on this one. So we're going to assume it's the year 2500-ish. Earth is basically all underwater. Humans live on floating atolls made from scavenged stuff. People's mostly forgotten what land is like and that there even is land to begin with. There are rumors of a place called dry land, but most people think it's just a myth. The mariner drifts into one of these atolls on his trimaran, trading dirt, a rare and valuable resource in this world, for supplies. He's not exactly normal either. He has gills and webbed feet, which kind of freaks some people out. Some locals attack him. He kills one in self-defense. Not surprisingly, the atoll wants him dead and locks him in a tank of sludge to drown him. But then the smokers attack. We get this group of people who are kind of a quasi-religious Mad Max kind of group known as the Smokers. Helen tries to escape with Enola and Gregor in a balloon, but Gregor accidentally leaves alone, leaving Helen and Enola behind. She frees the mariner on the promise that he helps them escape. He fights off the pirates, injures Deacon, the leader, played by Dennis Hopper, and they get away together. One of the other fun characters in this, I think his character's name was Nord, if I've got that right. Nord was kind of a funny character, just kind of because of the way he looked. He was played by, let me try to remember if I can find the actor's name, Gerard Murphy. So Irish actor Gerard Murphy ended up playing the character named Nord. And there is actually an action figure of Nord that you can buy if you buy the Waterworld action figures. I think because of the long blondish hair and the almost post-apocalyptic outfits that people are wearing, Nord kind of reminded me of like a poor man's Khan.
Sure.
Like there were moments where I was like, it looks a little bit like if we were fan casting a Wrath of Khan movie, we'd get the guy playing Nord to play Khan. And kind of a fun dude, too. Like, he's a little crazy piratey kind of guy. But
Every
yeah,
movie on the water needs a crazy piratey kind of guy.
you need a crazy piratey guy every single time. On the open water, they are dealing with more threats, a crazy drifter, a mutated shark, both handled very well by the Mariner. We also see the Mariner start to open up a little bit, especially with Enola. He teaches her how to swim, which is kind of a nice bonding moment for the two of them. Helen reveals they're after Enola because of the tattoo on her back. It supposedly shows the way to dry land. Mariner takes her underwater to show her the ruins of, I believe, what is supposed to be Denver and the ocean floor, trying to prove that dry land doesn't exist. Later, he notices Enola's drawings match pictures from old National Geographic magazines. Maybe dry land isn't just a myth. And then, as they kind of prepare for a final battle, Gregor spots them and takes them into a new atoll for safety. The Mariner steals a smoker jet ski and tracks their base to the wrecked Exxon Valdez. They create fuel, ammo, and cigarettes to get ready, while Deacon keeps his crew distracted by pretending he's decoded Enola's tattoo. Mariner infiltrates the ship, finally threatening to blow it up unless Enola is freed. Deacon calls the bluff, but Mariner actually sets the oil on fire anyway. Ship starts sinking. He rescues Enola with the help of Gregor's balloon. Deacon and his men die in a jet ski crash during the chaos. And then finally, after decoding Enola's tattoo, the group finally lands on dry land. It's green, it's lush, it's full of life, and even the hut of Enola's parents are there. It's kind of the first real glimpse we get of hope in the movie. And then, true to his loner, Han Solo type nature, the Mariner decides dry land is not for him. It's too busy, it's too noisy. He belongs in the sea. He leaves on a wooden catamaran, letting Helen and Enola stay and start their new life on dry land. Those are the major moments. And now it's time for some deeper thoughts.
And now, Deep Thoughts.
I have an opinion on this matter.
Don't mince words, Bones. What do you really think?
I like it a lot. Wow. It's very deep. Thank you.
All right. So when was the first time you remember seeing this movie?
Like most movies around this time, it was either a Blockbuster or an HBO sort of thing. This was Kevin Costner was a big deal at this point. People were gonna try to see what he was in. I've also always been a sucker for post-apocalyptic stuff, so put the two together and I was in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't remember the first time I saw it. This might be the first time I saw it all the way through. I caught bits and pieces of it, but kind of never hung in there. And I remember most of my friends kind of, Waterworld, or there was some grumbling about it, but I can't remember what they were grumbling about. It was kind of like because the media told them that this movie was going to be awful and it cost too much and there was all this strife going on off camera. It was kind of like, I feel like the people that I would normally see movies with or talk to were all kind of, it's interesting to hear that described because it was almost like they were parroting that. Like I remember living through that. Everyone saying, oh, well, it's this and this, that. And, people quit the show and it's coming in over budget and all this kind of stuff. And it was like, now I look back on that and it's like, yeah, okay, all those things, were true. Okay, that's fine. But does that mean that the movie's bad? I don't know. I think we were kind of just like you described. It was interesting living through that idea of, oh yeah, we're kind of just being told what to think. And, we'll put a pin in the discussion of, someone tries to do something and plenty of people lining up to kind of tear it all down on them. So yeah, I remember just kind of seeing bits and pieces of it. And this might be the first time I watched it all the way through. If I had, I just didn't remember.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, I'm trying to remember if we saw this in the theater. I feel like my dad might have been enough of a Kevin Costner fan. Like, he loved Field of Dreams. I remember Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves we saw in theaters. And so I feel like this would have been another one that my dad would have been like, oh, big adventure movie. This is one you got to see on a big screen. So I feel like the first time we saw it might have been in theaters. And then I want to say I think I watched it one more time a few years later in high school. But then it's been a good, easily 25 years since I've seen this movie from start to finish. And it's kind of interesting. It's not one. I mean, now that I've watched it again for the podcast, I don't know that it's one I'm going to go back to and watch again. Like it's not necessarily a repeat viewing movie for me, but it is one I've seen a few times. But I think if we didn't have this podcast, I wouldn't have come back to it again. Like this would have been one I'm like, I got so many other movies that I got to watch. Like I vaguely remember this one, not necessarily. I mean, I don't remember disliking it. I remember hearing people kind of make fun of it back in the 90s, but I don't remember horribly disliking it. I just remember, oh yeah, I remember everybody talking about that first scene. He's, drinking his own pee and everything else. And like, that was kind of always the thing that people gravitated towards. And so I remember just through other people's comments being weirded out by this movie a little bit, although I'm not sure how much of that was my own opinion. And then watching it this time around, I think getting the chance to watch the extended version, there's a lot more backstory to the smokers and to, some of these other characters. Now, I'm going to, since we're already in the deeper thoughts part, I'm just going to say I appreciated all the extra stuff you get in this 3-hour version of the movie, but I'm also looking at it and I'm also going, so this is the 3-hour cut, the most complete cut of this movie that you're probably ever going to get. And yet I'm sitting here going, I feel like so much time is wasted or not given to building out these characters and building out this world. If you're going to do something like this movie where it's a massive scale, we were actually just talking about this tonight as I was kind of finishing up the last little bit. We hadn't had a chance to finish it up, so I needed to finish like the last 20 minutes of the movie. And so we were finished watching it tonight. As my wife and I were talking about it, we were both kind of saying, I think, this movie probably suffered from all the stuff that was going on around it, like all the stories about, Kevin Costner being difficult to work with, or the production being difficult and challenging and expensive and all that. I wonder if you did this today and you did it as a TV series, you give it like an 8-episode series and do that, because I came away from this 3-hour version of this movie going, I wish I knew more about the smokers and they have kind of this religious cult aspect to them, but I feel like some of the world building that could have gone into it was overshadowed by a great performance by Dennis Hopper, but a crazy performance by Dennis Hopper as usual. But I found myself wanting more. And so I felt like, I don't know that I would say this movie is a flop and a failure, but I would say this movie, I think, is maybe a series of missed opportunities where you could have taken things even further. I would love to know more. I'm thinking of this world and thinking, well, what are some of the more, I would love to see some of the more technical aspects of this. I want to see, like, technically, how does the world work when we live on the water? What kind of things do we do differently? I feel like we get a little bit of that here and there, but I'm also thinking to other movies where we deal with like a post-apocalyptic environment. I'm thinking of like the movie Snowpiercer, where they're on the train and there's a lot of, they go into the world building, the technical aspects, both in the movie and the TV show. And you kind of really learn what is life like in a world where outside this train, if you go out, I mean, if your skin makes contact with the air for a split second, you're frozen solid. So what is that world like? Like, how do they use that to punish people? How do they use the environment in that situation? That's what I kind of wanted, even from this 3-hour cut of Waterworld, was I came away from it going, wow, I just watched 3 hours and I still feel like we could have trimmed down the movie in some spots to make space for, I want to see more of this world. Like, how does this world make sense? Show me some of the technical details of how this works. And then I know I also got caught up in some of the, okay, now hold on a second. If we're going to have a world in which, we're going to play around with the idea of, okay, well, there's dry land somewhere and somehow some of this technology has remained and existed, and we're going to say and if the production people are going to say it's 500 years in the future, well, then I'm looking at that and I'm going, because then I found myself starting to Google things. I was like, how long would flares actually last? Like, when do flares expire? Oh,
Right.
oh, 3.5 years? Okay. Well, all right. That takes me out just a little bit. You know, how long? My wife had a good comment. She's like, well, if those are those clay paper National Geographics, those are not lasting that long. I'm like, yeah, that's true. So there were certain things, you know, the CD player. I've had so many of those little CD players that I guarantee, even if it lasted 500 years, that thing is going to be skipping every time you hit a wave, unless you got that 60-second anti-skip protection.
Right.
But so that for me, I think is where the movie, I don't even want to say fell apart, but I think it was just a lot of missed opportunities. And I say that partially realizing that could be a pun, like MIST opportunities, since we're on the ocean. And it's, anyway, I'll just, yeah, I'll see myself out.
Yeah.
I'll walk the plank from here.
A for effort.
Yeah.
A for effort.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. It's like a pirate. You think his favorite letter is R, but his first love is the C.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I had to throw that one in there too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I am at this point. I'm all washed up. I need to stop talking. So just trying to, just trying to make a splash here, but no, I think missed opportunities is going to be how I'm going to sum this up and just say, I would love to see this. I'd love to see somebody take another stab at this and do it as an 8-part series, kind of like a Walking Dead, or kind of like how they did the Snowpiercer TV show, or any of these other like post-apocalyptic kind of TV shows. I would love to see this where you can explore this world even more. I'd also like to know how, when they don't have any helium, how that balloon ship was flying and floating and all kinds of things. So my in-world explanation was that the mariner breathes out helium, which also would have made the scene funnier when they both have to go underwater and he breathes for her because he's got the gills and they're able to stay underwater for a long time. So my in-world answer is he breathes out helium. So when they do finally come up from the water, she just looks at him and goes, "Thank you." But I know, not meant to be not meant to be a comedic moment, but so that's I will stop talking now. I will let someone else talk, but I think that's my thing is I was definitely entertained. And I think this is a much better version than the theatrical one that I did watch many years ago, many lunars ago. But I came out of it wanting more out of the 3 hours that I got. And I would have, if I was doing the editing of the movie, or if I was putting this together a little differently, I think I would have leaned into, instead of trying to make this a Robin Hood Prince of Thieves on water kind of a deal, which is kind of what I felt from time to time that it was trying to be, I'd rather get more into I want to find out more about the technical aspects and the logistical aspects of this world. How does this work to live on water, if that's the only thing that's left? So that's my take, but I'm shutting up now.
It's a good take.
But what are your guys' thoughts? What are was there more you wanted to see? Was this version fine? Like the version we got to see, were you compared with what you had seen before? Were you fine with this one?
I liked that we got to see a little more of the world building. I think that's one of the more interesting pieces of post-apocalyptic movies, as you just see someone's idea of what a future with no technology might look like. Yeah. So more was better in that respect. Yeah, there's all the things, the flying bit. You're like, how is that working? Even some of the, the fact that he keeps on his boat, the fact that he keeps all those gears and everything working while he's out on the ocean for that long, like that's kind of impressive.
Yeah.
I liked that we, the map shows a mountain, and if you're really thinking about Earth, it's got to be Everest because, well, the tallest point and all that. But I do like that they explicitly say it, and they find that little plaque kind of interesting. Little things like that are always fun in movies like this. I actually look for more of stuff like that. The example I'll give is there was a recent Apple TV show, C, with Jason Momoa.
Yes.
And it takes place in and around Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And some of the towns are like mishmashes of towns that exist now, and
Mm-hmm.
they used places that they used real places. And granted, most real places are underwater, so in this movie it's a little harder to do that, with the exception of Everest. But I like that in
Right.
a post-apocalyptic movie. We didn't get a whole lot of. I didn't feel like they did a good job of giving us scale. Like, how
Yeah.
far is it from the atoll to the Valdez to Everest? Like, they just say, if I read this map right, it's that way. But we don't really get a sense of how long they actually travel. The only time we really get that sense is when they leave the atoll after the smoker raid. The only reason we get that sense is they talk about how long it's been since they've had anything to drink or eat or whatnot.
Yeah.
So they don't do a good job of scale, because one of the things about a post-apocalyptic world now, they defeat some of this with the fact that those boats can move pretty fast when it's all said and done. But like sea, I'm going to use that as another example, because they're walking everywhere. They make it sound like they're traveling this huge distance, but then you look at a map of Pennsylvania and you're like, nah, not really. This is all happening within, I don't know, 100 miles.
Yeah. Right.
So I like scale. And
Yeah.
we don't get a lot of scale in this movie.
Well, and I don't remember where. I don't remember, because I mentioned earlier that I think it was supposed to be Denver. I don't remember where I pulled that
Well,
from.
and that's the thing. Like, I know they used Denver as the template.
Yeah.
The question becomes, when they wrote the movie, was that supposed to be Denver, or were
Right.
they just using Denver?
Well, because I
Then
mean,
you start to think, all right, Denver to Everest, that's pretty far.
that's pretty far. Well, and it does look like kind of a major, I don't want to say like specifically American city, but it looks like a major city with skyscrapers.
Yeah, with
And-
a submarine plowed into one of them, which was
Right.
an awesome shot.
Right.
That was so cool.
That was really cool.
So I mean, that's part of it, is like, yes, some of the production design and some of the things that you see, it's like, oh, that is super cool. But then I think with a lot of this movie, it's also saying, oh, don't look behind the curtain. Like, don't question this too much, because the illusion will fade fast if you do.
And I guess if you're traveling west from Denver, you could run into the Exxon Valdez in the Pacific and then keep going to Everest. Like, I guess there's some. It just didn't. Maybe it just didn't translate well.
Yeah.
You know. But at its core, I'm a sucker for post-apocalyptic movies.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, everything you said.
I even like Costner's next post-apocalyptic movie, and I probably shouldn't, because it's not that good.
Oh, The Postman, which I've only seen once, I think.
There is a great scene with Tom Petty in that movie.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get there in what, 2 more years?
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about it. He made 2 almost 3-hour post-apocalyptic movies like back to back.
Right.
You got to wonder what goes through that guy's head.
Well, I think 3-hour movies are kind of his bread and butter.
True.
He's got a lot to say.
Are they surf and turf, maybe?
It's Dances with Whales. Yeah.
There you go.
Robin Hood, Prince of Tides. Yeah, we've got all kinds of names for this one.
Was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves the shortest movie Kevin Costner ever made?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'll look it up. While you talk amongst yourselves, I'll look it up.
I'm gonna say I can look that one up.
Well, I like all of you guys' analyses of the movie, because that's kind of what I felt. To me, it was just fun adventure movie out on the ocean, right?
Yeah.
I didn't need to add anything else into that other than that. The world building was great. Totally agree with that. Just a fun movie. I gotta be honest, I know last week we talked about Crimson Tide, and I was like, okay, this is totally a 90s movie. This is 90s, and here's why, and all that. This one, I'm like, this is almost more of like an 80s movie. And then I got thinking, I think it's almost more like an early 80s, late 70s movie. Like right when Planet of the Apes and all the other, apocalyptic kind of movies. And that's the vibe I got from this. I just feel like it came out, 15 years too soon. And I think it would have been wildly popular if it came out 15 years earlier, right? It was just right in line with those movies, but it didn't. That's cool. but yeah, I really like it. It's fun.
Yeah, when I think about movies that I feel might even have a similar theme to them, like the Avatar movies. I feel like there's certain aspects of the Avatar movies. Maybe it's just the like the look and feel of some of the Avatar movies remind me of the look and feel of this one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge fan of the Avatar movies. Like I saw the original Avatar, and it was that like 3.5 hours?
I don't remember how long it
long.
was, but it was
Yeah.
long.
Yeah. And I remember thinking, all right, this is entertaining, but it definitely didn't need to be 3.5 hours. And so I watched it once. I was like, man, I don't plan on watching that. I don't think ever again. Like, it was entertaining. That's fine. And then when they started saying, oh, yeah, we're coming out with like 4 sequels to this thing over the next few years, I'm like, oh,
whoa.
dear Lord. Yeah, okay. Well, that's going to be for somebody else to go see because I'm not invested enough in this world to go see, 4 Avatar sequels. What I would be though is, to your point, Pat, if Waterworld had come out either 15 years earlier or 15 years later, I think to my earlier point too, if somebody wants to redo this, like give it another try and really kind of lean in on maybe give it some consistency and tone too. Like I don't know, there's something about the adventure aspect of this that feels very much Robin Hood Prince of Thieves. But there's another part of this that I wanted a little bit more of the, I don't know what word I'm looking for to describe it, not doom and gloom, but like a little bit more of the urgency of this is the end of the world and we urgently need to find dry land because people are dying. I mean, they say that over and over again in the movie. Our people are dying, our society is dying, but then I mean, there's a lot about the movie where you're like, well, then show me more of that. Like, make it more urgent than it seems to be. Because I do get kind of a sense that there's an urgency, but not really. Like, I need you to show me urgency. Like, this is absolutely a thing that is going to happen very soon unless we find dry land. And so, if somebody wanted to take Waterworld and say, you know what, we're going to do a remake of Waterworld, come different, obviously different cast. We're going to kind of clean up the story a little bit. We're going to do a little bit more to build the society out, build the cults, the religion out of this, and then either release it as a mini series on TV, or we'll release it as a movie. And I don't know, maybe there's other opportunities to have sequels to the movie. I'd be more interested in seeing that than seeing a bunch of Avatar sequels.
Sure.
Like, this to me is more, there's more here that interests me than the Avatar stuff. Partially because a lot of this is so much practical effects, and I look at the Avatar stuff and be like, I'd feel like I'm just playing a video game if I go see that in the movie theater. So I'm more interested in, I'd like to learn more about this world, and more. Maybe there's more, as he says when he leaves at the end of the movie. Maybe there's more people like him. Maybe there's more mutations that we can find out. I'm sure there's more than just people with gills and webbed feet.
Yeah.
That I would be more curious to see. And so I would be totally fine if somebody wanted to take this and give it another shot.
Yeah. The guys that skied up the ramps and jumped over the walls were pretty cool.
Yeah, I figured you'd be all over kind of the hybrid jet ski motorcycle thing going on.
Yeah, it was like going to the Tommy Bartlett water show.
Yeah.
Exactly. I loved it.
So oddly enough, I did find that Kevin Costner's shortest movie is also a post-apocalyptic movie.
Oh.
So his shortest movie came in 1983. It was a 90-minute movie. And the premise, it is called Testament from 1983. And it is one of his earliest parts. He's a struggling actor at this point. His part is not a very big one in this movie. But it is, so the premise of the movie is the film is set in the fictional, small, idyllic suburban town of Hamlin, California. The ordinary lives of the Weatherly family are suddenly shattered when a news broadcast is interrupted, followed by a blinding flash of light off in the distance. And so it is similar to, it's like a nuclear war kind of film, and it's not like an epic post-apocalyptic movie. We don't see a mushroom cloud. We don't see like large-scale destruction. We don't see like how things are handled on a global level. It's almost entirely focused on the collapse of civilization within this small, isolated town.
Okay.
It's like a loss of everyday life. You lose your electricity. There's no garbage collection. There's communication starts to fail, and then people start to die from radiation poisoning. And so the town is struggling with, the main theme is kind of struggling with maintaining hope and dignity, and like, how do you keep a community going when the world is quietly disintegrating and dying? And so, oddly enough, both his longest movies and his shortest movie are post-apocalyptic, we all gonna die kind of deals. Supposedly Roger Ebert gave this Testament movie, the 83 Testament movie, 4 stars. So apparently it got some really good reviews from critics.
That's cool.
So, well, I might have to catch this one sometime.
Mm-hmm.
That was, you had kind of several coming around that time. There was one called The Day After, also from 83. That was the famous kind of 80s TV movie about nuclear war.
Okay.
So that was out around the same time. So similar themes. Yeah, apparently this one gets an 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. Roger Ebert gives it 4 stars. So sounds like a pretty decent one.
Mm-hmm.
Person who plays the mother in the family received an Academy Award nomination for Best Actress for this.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay. Well, that goes on the watch list.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh. All right. Well, before we jump into 3 questions, before we take a dive into 3 questions, any other thoughts about Waterworld?
If you got the 3 hours, it's a good watch.
Mm-hmm.
It's finding the 3 hours that's hard.
That's also true.
That's really the problem with these epics, is it can be really fun.
Yeah.
But good God, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. All right. It's time for 3 questions.
He asks each traveler 5 questions. 3 questions. 3 questions.
It's impossible to answer.
Impossible because you don't know the answer.
Nobody could answer that question.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
All right, number 1, what is your favorite movie that takes place primarily on or near water?
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
For me, that's pretty easy. Hunt for Red October.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm going to have to say Jaws.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm going to say Jaws. Like, I got to say Jaws.
Okay.
Definitely it's Jaws. But, I mean, there's list is so long of cool movies by the water.
Captain Ramsey is not holding a gun to your head telling you have to say Jaws?
He is not.
No, okay. All right. Well, you know what? It's okay. He would get a commendation for it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Because nothing any of us do is ever wrong.
No.
Utah.
Jaws.
Give me 2.
Give me 2. Yeah, okay. Jaws. Point Break is definitely got to be up there.
Okay.
I mentioned, I think last week, Enemy Below. It's fantastic.
Sure, yeah.
Captain Blood. Torpedo Alley, Run Silent, Run Deep. I mean, it's just the list keeps going. Master and Commander.
I was going to say Master Commander, yeah.
I'm naming like every water movie because they're all just awesome. White Squall, great movie. What do you got, John?
For this one, for me, I'm going to pick a really fun one that I've seen many, many, many times. I'm going to go with the original Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Because that was just a lot of fun. That's my favorite. Like some of them get a little crazy, get a little weird, get a little repetitive as the story goes on. But the original, the very first Curse of the Black Pearl, I'm going with that one.
I would agree.
Yeah. Great movie. Great soundtrack.
Yes.
Bum, 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 bum.
I'm going to be singing that the rest of the night now. Question number 2. What kind of post-apocalyptic world would you rather live in? I picked 3 movies for us. Waterworld, where it's all water. and your commodities are freshwater and dirt. Mad Max, where it's all deserty, sandy stuff, and your commodity is water. Or Snowpiercer, where you are trapped on a train and the earth is frozen so bad that you're never going to set foot off this train ever again. What are you picking? If you had to live in one of these worlds, what would you rather live in?
I definitely move Snowpiercer out. It's kind of a toss-up between Waterworld and Mad Max.
Okay.
Yeah, the
That's hard.
Snowpiercer thing, I don't know. Probably Waterworld if I had to pick, but they both sound pretty rough.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because Snowpiercer would have actually been one of my top choices because having seen the movie and the TV show, you at least have some like climate controlled train cars where you can grow food, you can have animals, you can have all that stuff. So in some ways, there's still a kind of a semblance of society still going.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, okay, so I think I'm choosing Mad Max.
Okay.
And I fully get that it's brutal and I don't own enough spikes or chains to be able to really fit in with the Mad Max world. But I think the reason I'm choosing Mad Max is because of freedom. Like I think when I think of Snowpiercer, it's you are stuck on the train, so you're never going to get out of there. It's a pretty crazy locked up class system. Waterworld is everything's just hard and you're constantly thirsty, no land in sight, huge danger of drowning, which I don't swim so well. So in the Mad Max world, I feel like the rules are fairly straightforward. You got to be fast, you got to be smart, and avoid the psycho gangs. Beyond that, there's open space, and you can, choose your own path. You can explore, you can discover.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I'd rather face the elements with a full tank of gas than have to try to face off against a gang of assassins on a train or constant dehydration.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. To the question, you mentioned before by psycho gangs, were they psychos, John?
Were they psychos? Yes. Well, it depends. It's not October anymore, so.
Okay, that's true. That's true.
Well, were they psychos?
They look like psychos? Is that what they look like? They were vampires. Psychos do not explode when sunlight hits them. I don't give a how crazy they are.
Mm-hmm.
One of the great all-time lines.
I think anytime anybody says the word psychos, you should play that clip.
Yeah.
Norman Bates and his mother, they look like psychos? Yes, actually. All right, final question. Number 3. If you were the mariner, what artifact from the 80s or 90s would you most want to have on your boat?
Oh, jeez.
I don't think Kindles were invented in the 90s, so I don't think I can choose a Kindle. If I had like a fully loaded Kindle with tons of books on it and a way of keeping it charged, maybe something like that. But I think if we're sticking to the 80s or 90s, I got to have either a Walkman or a Discman of some kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to have my tunes.
Yes, I'm going to daily W.
But if you can't find power to power the tunes, maybe just a bunch of those snap bracelets to
Oh yeah, just kind of occupy your time.
slap on stuff.
Mm-hmm. Just sit around the flooded world and slap yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And other people, of course.
Oh sure. Well, you cut those. I mean, you got the little metal things inside of them, so you can use that as a weapon.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think I got to have the music, so I got to go either a Walkman or Discman of some kind. Yeah. All right.
Yes to everything.
Bo, was slap bracelets yours?
I guess, yeah. Why not?
Okay. Well, and I can see the people just as a thigh master as a torture device. I can also see maybe slap bracelets or some kind of weird torture device too.
That was so funny. And this has to be some sort of torture device. Well,
yes.
Yeah, kind of.
Yes, it was. It was that was the other comment we made, is that there are some things about this movie that are very much of their time. Like the in-joke that this whole thing is the Exxon Valdez at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's a whole generation of people, unless you were alive during this time, you have no clue what that commentary really is.
Right.
So
The Exxon Valdez.
Yep.
Still full of oil.
Yep.
Still leaking it all over the place so he can light it on fire and follow it back.
The Deacon of the D's. Some would say he's crazy, maybe nuts too.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll let you take that wherever you want to take that.
I think I've taken it as far as I intend to.
There you go. All right. Do we have anything else we want to say about Waterworld? My final thought on Waterworld is I want somebody to redo it. Like, give it a second chance, give it some new life, really dive into, again, pun intended, really dive into the world building. Like, build the world more. That's what I wanted from this movie. That's what I wanted from a 3-hour version of it. I feel like I still didn't get what I wanted out of it. So I would say this is a movie that I think definitely could be really successful if you did this as like a TV show series, miniseries, something like that, or even do it as another movie, but really kind of build out what is a post-apocalyptic world where we all live on the water really and truly look like.
Yes. Yes, have some.
So do it. Either somebody give us the money to make it or make it yourself.
Yes. Yes. Everything about this plan is good.
I like it all. All right, everybody. Thank you. Thank you guys for being here with me on Waterworld. I think we successfully treaded water enough to stay afloat on this one.
Yes.
Thank you, John.
All right, coming up next week, we got Cutthroat Island, piratey movie with piratey Gina Davis. And then beyond that, we've got our special episode coming up here really soon, tribute to car designer George Barris. And then we're ending the month with Sandra Bullock and The Net. And then over on Patreon, we've got Rocky Horror Picture Show from 1975 reaching its 50th anniversary this year. And then we'll have a review also of the series Alien Earth that just came out this year and was getting some really, really good reviews. It's just a matter of me finding the time to finish it before I can actually record a review on this. So it's that pesky little thing called free time.
Yes.
Yeah, because time ain't free.
Time is the fire in which we burn. And sometimes it absolutely does burn us.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Everybody, be excellent to each other. Go watch some good movies. And we will see you back here next time.
Bring the lights down low, it's time to show. Lights, camera, you know what we mean. Behold the magic of the silver screen. Some movies rock, some movies shock. They're powerful, alright. We cover them all on your favorite part. So many movies we can choose. Even when you win, you lose. Life moves pretty fast. Some will fizzle and some movies last. I understood there would be no math. It's the 30-something movie podcast. Be excellent to each other. Peace out and word to your mother. They're from the best decades. Movie magic that never fades. Lightsabers clash, phasers set to stun.